Harumi's fate. Haha, good morning. Everyone's really into telling scary stories, huh? Unfortunately, the weather seems to be bad today. It was just like this on that rainy day. Oh no, it's nothing, just talking to myself. What? You want to hear it? Oh, no one said that? Haha, sorry, I'm just suffering every day. Honestly, if I don't share this story with someone, I feel like I'll go crazy. So please read it if you have some time to kill. It happened about 10 years ago. At that time, I was working at a rundown snack bar in a rural area. I got pretty close with one of the girls working there. Well, it's a common story, isn't it? We lived together in an apartment. The mama of the snack bar and the other employees knew about it and didn't mind. We were living quite comfortably and happily. However, let's call her Harumi for now. Harumi was quite a gambling addict. Pachinko, horse racing, boat racing, bicycle racing, poker, mahjong, you name it, she was into it. It's fine if she won, but she was terrible at it. Gambling does require some talent, doesn't it? As expected, she ended up drowning in debt. Even so, she was working hard to pay it off. What about me, you ask? I don't gamble at all. Can you bet a large amount of money on something so uncertain? I'm quite a prudent person, actually. Heh. Let's get back to the story. About 2 years after we started living together, we hit a dead end. Harumi, in her desperation, borrowed money from a place she shouldn't have. Yeah, the Yakuza. One night, 2 men came to our apartment. You could tell they were Yakuza just by looking at them. You can guess what happened next, right? It's just like what you see in TV dramas and movies. It's laughably the same. If you can't pay back the money, we'll make you work in the sex industry. That kind of threat. Even then, Harumi kept postponing it, saying, please wait a week, a month, while continuing to work. What about me? I couldn't do anything. They were Yakuza, you know? I didn't want to get involved. What, living together and not doing anything is terrible, you say? Haha, you're right. But you'll understand if you're ever in a situation like mine. One night, as usual, the debt collectors came to our apartment, but something was different this time. The boss, you know, the big guy, came. After talking with Harumi for a while, he walked straight over to me and asked, are you her man? At that point, I couldn't say no. When I admitted it, he asked, can you cover her debt? Of course, I couldn't. By then, her debt had ballooned to nearly 10 million yen. I told him it was impossible. Then the man, who now that I think about it, looked quite a bit like Kazuki Kitamura, said, then we'll take the girl. I had already given up. As long as I wasn't harmed, they could do whatever they wanted. What am I, a demon? A devil? A fiend? Haha, you're right. But you see, you can't survive in the nightlife business without killing your heart. I wasn't in love with Harumi. I was just interested in her body. What? Still a fiend? Haha, fair enough. Then that guy said something strange. If you swear to forget about her and never speak of this again, take this. He handed me a thick envelope. It had exactly 1 million yen in it. But you see, I didn't want to take money from the Yakuza. What if they came back later asking for it with interest? So I refused. Then one of the henchmen took a Polaroid picture of me. The boss said, if you don't take the money, we'll kill you. Why was this happening to me, I thought. Reluctantly, I accepted the money. He then said, if you ever speak of this, we'll find you and kill you, no matter where you are in the world. At that moment, I vaguely realized that Harumi wasn't going to be forced into the sex industry, but something much worse. Harumi packed a decent amount of clothes and other things into a travel bag and was taken away just like that. When she left, she didn't even glance at me, just walked out the door. She was a pretty strong woman. Left alone in the apartment, I sat there in a daze for a while. I thought about quitting my job at the bar and moving somewhere else by tomorrow. I couldn't stand the idea of living in an apartment known to the Yakuza. Suddenly, my eyes fell on the dressing table Harumi used. There was a box with a ribbon on it. When I opened it, I found the watch I had wanted for a long time. Oh, right, tomorrow is my birthday. Even someone like me had tears streaming down my face. That was the first time I realized I was in love with Harumi. What, did I go to the Yakuza office to get her back? No, this isn't a movie. This is the story of a pathetic guy in real life. The next day, I quit the bar and decided to move with my savings of 1 million yen. I wanted to get as far away as possible, so I moved from the city famous for its mentaiko to the one known for its snow festival. I decided to start a new life there. Once I found a place to live and settle down, the next step was to find a job. I was done with the nightlife business, so I looked for something else and found a night security job that suited my nocturnal nature perfectly. I went for an interview, got hired, and started working there. It's been about 10 years since then. It's rare for someone as fickle as me, but I've been working at the same place all this time. What about Harumi? I thought about her occasionally. I kept wearing that watch. After moving to the northern city, I had relationships with a few women here and there, but overall, my life was uneventful, if not fun. Believe it or not, I've occasionally been told I look like Mayo Kawasaki. What? No one asked, just compliments from hostesses? Haha, sorry about that. So, about a month ago, my colleague M said he had an amazing video. I thought it was just another pirated adult video when M mentioned it. I had borrowed a few from him before. Then M asked me, "Do you know what a snuff film is?" I'm somewhat into the internet, so I spend quite a bit of time browsing when I'm free. So I knew about them. Some foreign websites are crazy, you know. Actual accident footage, corpse photos, and all that. M said he got it from some source and brought it today. It was around 3 a.m. during our break, so I thought it might kill some time and agreed to watch it. I was skeptical, thinking it was just a fake. M put the tape into the deck and hit play. A young naked woman lay in a large cage. Both her hair and pubic hair had been shaved off. Her eyes were darting around wildly, probably because she was drugged and couldn't move. It was Harumi. I wanted to stand up, but I couldn't move for some reason. Soon, a huge anaconda was released into the cage. It came through something like a thick tube. It must have been over 10 meters long. It slowly moved towards Harumi. M glanced at me with pride, as if saying, "Isn't this amazing?" The snake slithered slowly, wrapping its huge body around Harumi. Maybe her vocal cords or tongue were damaged because, despite her terrified expression, she didn't make a sound. There was a cracking sound like snapping a vegetable stick in two. Harumi's body started to become limp, like a boneless creature. After about 10 minutes, the snake opened its jaws wide. It swallowed Harumi's shaved head. "This part takes a while," M said as he fast-forwarded the tape. The snake finished swallowing her head and then opened its mouth wide again, starting to swallow her shoulders. The tape ended as it reached her torso. M said there were 2 more tapes of the continuation. "That's enough," I said, and hurriedly went back to patrolling the building. After that, I started having the same dream over and over. A giant snake with Harumi's face would coil around me and squeeze tightly. My bones would be crushed, and I would be swallowed whole by Harumi from the head down. The pain was excruciating, but strangely, it brought an indescribable pleasure. As I began to dissolve slowly inside Harumi's stomach, I felt a sense of comfort, as if I had returned to my mother's womb. What happened to the video, you ask? I bought it from M. I spent several months' worth of salary on it. After watching all 3 tapes and shedding a few tears, I smashed them to pieces. Since then, while working late at night, I can feel Harumi's presence. When I'm patrolling alone inside buildings, I hear footsteps, a wet slapping sound coming from behind. When I turn around, there's no one there. As I start walking again, I hear the sound of wet rags slapping against the floor, a repetitive splat. I think it might be Harumi, but she never shows herself. All I feel is her presence and hear her footsteps. This went on for several days, and it took a toll on my mental state. So I took a leave of absence from work and have been resting. 3 days ago, Harumi finally appeared. It was late at night, and I was lying in bed, absent-mindedly smoking a cigarette. A white mist began to swirl in front of me. At first, I thought it was just the cigarette smoke, but its movements were strange. The smoke started to take shape, moving as if it were alive. It was Harumi. Her entire body was partially dissolved, her bones crushed, swaying like a marionette. She stared at me with her one remaining eye, trying to say something. Her mouth moved as if she wanted to speak, but whether her tongue was gone or her vocal cords were damaged, she only produced voiceless groans. I don't know how much time passed. Before I knew it, Harumi had disappeared. Shamefully, I had wet and soiled myself. Sorry for the graphic details. The next night, Harumi came back again. By this point, I had resigned myself to the idea that Harumi might curse me to death. Part of me even looked forward to her return. Once again, she moved her mouth as if trying to say something. I rushed to her, asking, "What do you want to say? What should I do?" "The watch. Thank you for the watch. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything for you then. I still have the watch. I treasure it." In a half-mad state, I kept shouting. Harumi, with her broken neck, slowly approached me and spoke, her words clear, despite being broken and halting. "I wanted to have your child. Night is coming again.